Hi there everyone. So I was reading the Markandeya Purana, and there is a section where the god Dattatreya is talking to the other gods, and he's discussing about how where goddess Maha Lakshmi resides in a person's body or on a person's body, how it determines what blessings they get or if they get any blessings at all. So the context is, there is a fight going on between the Devas, Daityas and Danavas, and the Daityas and Danavas are absolutely killing and decimating the Devas. So the Devas go to Dattatreya Swami and they beg him, God, can you please protect us and help us and destroy these evil mongers, this pestilence that is completely set on destroying the Devas. So Dattatreya Swami says, all right, you bring the Daityas and Danavas in front of me in my line of vision, and I'll make sure that they die. So the Devas go and challenge the Daityas and Danavas to a duel and or to a fight, and they bring the Daityas and Danavas to where Dattatreya Swami is staying along with his wife, an avatara of Mahalakshmi. But the moment the Daityas and Danavas come there and then they see Mahalakshmi, they just forget all about the battle because they develop this intense desire to possess her. She is one of the most beautiful creatures that they've ever seen, possibly the most beautiful woman that they've ever seen, and they have this sinful thought of abducting her and making her their own. That's why, leaving everything, they forcibly take Mahalakshmi and then they place her on their head in a palanquin, and then they start running away. When the Devas see this, they are aghast and they are shocked and they're scared about what Dattatreya Swami will do. But Dattatreya Swami only laughs and says, you know what, the Daityas and Danavas have only assured their own destruction by placing Mahalakshmi on their head. You see, where Mahalakshmi resides on a person's body determines what blessings they get or if they get any blessings at all. Then Dattatreya Swami goes on to explain to the Devas how this works. You see, when Mahalakshmi resides on the foot of a person, the person gets a wonderful house. If Mahalakshmi resides on the thighs of a person, then that person will get money, riches, jewels and garments. If Mahalakshmi resides on the genitals of a person, they get a wonderful spouse. If Mahalakshmi resides on the lap of a person, they get incredible children who love them. If Mahalakshmi resides in the mouth or throat of a person, well, they get amazing food and they have a power over speech that is just captivating and ensures that anything they want is obviously done. But if Mahalakshmi resides on the head of a person, that is when things get bad. Because a person who has Mahalakshmi on their head leads to their inevitable demise and destruction. So let us actually break this down and understand what this might mean. And again, remember, this is just my analysis of what this particular story, and do let me know if this makes sense to you or if you have any other understanding. When Mahalakshmi resides on the foot of a person, to me that entails, physical labor, long-term effort that is put into gaining something, and therefore you get a house, a long-term, long-standing, hardy material wealth and benefit that stays on for a long time. Plot, land that appreciates in value, a house that is spacious and accommodates everyone, that gives everyone a roof over their head and just security. So when Mahalakshmi is on the foot of a person, it represents to me the hard physical labor that people are doing for a long time. When Mahalakshmi resides on the thigh of a person, to me this represents trading, or handicrafts. Because if you've seen people, working on handicrafts or in trade or involved in any sort of business, you see the usage of, they'll keep the money on their thighs, or they keep their materials somewhere closer to their waist because that's the easiest and the most comfortable ergonomic way to actually work. And to me, that's why, when Mahalakshmi is on the thighs, you get money and you get garments and you get jewels, because these are work where your bodily position and the amount of that work that you do, it correlates to how you place your hands on your thighs or how you work. When Mahalakshmi is on the genitals, of course, it represents a good spouse. Vishnu and Lakshmi are one of the primordial couples, and I would say the go-to examples, apart from Shiva and Parvati, on how a couple should be. And of course, it represents marital bliss and marital happiness. When Mahalakshmi is on the lap, it represents familial happiness that comes from marital happiness. You have children, your lineage is restored, your ancestors are happy, and your bloodline continues, and you make a positive mark through your children on this world. When Mahalakshmi is in the throat and the mouth, it represents, speaking sweetly, being kind, sharing your good fortune with others. And that's why, you have this captivating hold on other people, and you're able to get things done because you're not using force, you're using the sweetness and kindness of words. And in all these ways, you see the positive effect of how Mahalakshmi has on your physicality, on your presence, and on your life and your livelihood. But when Mahalakshmi is on your head, to me this represents ego. This represents an unhealthy obsession over money. It represents how your actions and thoughts are all controlled by this desire to get more wealth, no matter what the cost. We saw what the Daityas and Danavas did. They forcibly and sinfully abducted Mahalakshmi and placed her on their head, and they continued going because they believed that what they were thinking was not sinful. They believed that they were rightfully entitled to her. They believed that nothing and no one could wreak havoc on them or punish them for their crime. And having this sort of unhealthy obsession with money, having this sort of belief that everything in the world is only about money, consequences be damned, relationships be damned, this whole ego and the sense of identity crafted around wealth and acquiring wealth and making money, and that is what leads to people's destructions. Because money, just like Mahalakshmi, I'm sure if you are familiar with our stories, you'll know that Mahalakshmi never stays with those who try to clutch at her and who force her to stay. She only comes to those who are not looking for her and who genuinely want to use her if she were to come to them for the good of the world and for the good of others. So this is what the story tells us, and I find this absolutely fascinating. Now, how do you know where Mahalakshmi resides on your body? Well, according to my research, there are two things that can happen. Some people are born with Mahalakshmi in certain parts of their body, which indicate, perhaps a fate-based placement in their lives of where they might get what kind of prosperity. But for most of us, Mahalakshmi resides there only when we act in a way that pleases her. Talk good, and good things will be said about you too. Do good, work hard, and good results will come to you. Never think about, I want to do this because it will lead to these consequences. You see in the Bhagavad Gita, as Krishna says, do the work and the consequences will come regardless of it. So similarly, Mahalakshmi comes to those who do the work without trying to catch hold of her, without trying to forcibly keep her, and that's when she gives you the greatest benefits. So if there's one thing that you can take away from this video, it is never place Mahalakshmi on your head. Never invite Mahalakshmi on your head. Invite her everywhere else on your body. That's perfectly all right. And make space for her in every other aspect of your life, in every other area of your life, except your head, so that you continue to have prosperity and success and an amazing life going forward. I hope you like the story. Let me know, have you heard of this before? And share your thoughts. I'll see you next time. Bye.